Hello, Horde Hunters. So I'm going to go ahead and try to give some tips and advice on the Trouble of the Buried 2 achievement for the title of the Sixth Sense. It's a title that I've seen some people want, and it requires finding 100 pieces of their cursed horde without using the Palmander, which could be a bit tricky. So before we get started, you're going to need access to Palace of the Dead, obviously. And I would highly recommend using a tank for this, but any job will do. It is Palace of the Dead. Biggest thing is going to be making sure you know how to avoid certain attacks that could cause some trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and reset progress here. And what you're going to want to do is go in with a fixed party to go in solo. And you're going to start on floor 1. Floors 1 through 3 are guaranteed to have at least one cursed horde. So the big thing here is just go ahead and try to find it, get through here, and get started. Now, anytime I've done a run when searching for it or when using an intuition just to try to find the spawn locations, I've never seen them in the starting room. So I usually never check the starting room. I still usually get 2 to 3 per run, so I could be wrong on that. I'm not an expert on it, but I've just never seen them in the starting room. So we're gonna first start off by trying to get a little bit of EXP, make sure we're, just getting a little bit of bulk on us. Search this room a little bit. This is one of the worst rooms for me personally, because of how many spawn points there are here. So I'm going to stand at each position where I believe it spawns. The huge gimmick here for trying to get this, floors 1 through 10 all pull data from the same map that consists of 16 to 20 rooms. I forget which of the two numbers. And you'll see what I mean as I continue here. I'm just going to finish searching this room. This is one of 2 rooms that look like this. So it is a common room to see with lots of spawn points, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of them get missed. Generally, if you ever see a trap somewhere, it's about this position where a horde piece can spawn as well. So they share the same general spawn points and a little bit of fluctuation. And this room right here has a bunch of spawns in it as well. But this is also one of 3 rooms that I have not been able to find the difference of very well. There's one here without any color glow. Then there's one with a red glow, and then there's one with a blue glow. So this is another room that you'll see a lot, because there's 3 variants of this room. And again, there's a lot of spawn points. They're all going to be in the corners here, right along this railing, or right under the light here. So these 2 rooms are definitely going to take a lot of time to search. They're also going to be your most common rooms. However, they're not the ones I see the horde in the most. And one of the reasons I like to go tank is because I can provoke any enemies outside of a room. Just because there are traps, and the traps are definitely what you're going to have a problem with. If you hit a luring trap or a toad trap at any time when you're not prepared for it, it could definitely be an end run. In this room, usually it's going to be up against here, one of the corners, or generally the center. It pretty much goes for just about any room, alongside a kind of an edge, or just about the center. So I'll just kind of search around this room a little bit. Usually I try to stay on the spots where the 4 tiles meet, and my hitbox should be able to find it if it's anywhere on any of the tiles. So that's where I usually, find myself standing most of the time. Not all the time. Definitely if there's a trap on a corner or so, try to be a little more careful, because sometimes I will use sight to see the traps. With that being said, sometimes it can also spawn underneath a trap. So you will probably be searching underneath traps as well sometimes. You will definitely be detonating yourself quite a bit going through this achievement, and it definitely is a very big time consumer. Especially since doing all the searching on these big rooms like such, it might not even be on this floor, and we are doing all the searching just for the chance to find it. And obviously we will not be able to know if it's on this floor or not until we use the intuition. So I'm going to finish searching this room and then hop over to floor 2. Alright, so advancing to floor 2, you can see that this is the exact same room that I was just in previously. And if I search around a little bit, I'll probably continue to find similar rooms. Each room has its own little distinction to it, but generally they all kind of have the same kind of layout for hordes and traps. The big thing here is why we do 1 through 10 is because every map will only have 4 rooms to it, so there's a lot less searching for it if it does end up spawning. And because it's got the smallest number of rooms it can pull from. That just makes it easier to memorize each room's kind of layout, where you're going to be. As you can see right now, north of the previous room is going to be a collapsed wall and then roots in the corner. So if later on we end up seeing that room again with the north connection to it, we'll know that this is the exact same room. So as I clear this room out, one of the ways Palace of the Dead works is on its general map is the rooms that it can pick from. When it picks the 4 rooms that you will be using, it'll randomly connect them. So it could pick from the map of 16 and connect them in a straight line, like I have on my map right now, or it can connect them in a square. Each room will have its own feel to it. Like I call this the bright room because it's lit up a lot better. But the bright room will not always have the same connections to it. This bright room could, if I get the next floor to have this bright room, I could have a connection to the south right here, and not any to the north or west. So it'll randomly decide, you know, which connections it's gonna have, which rooms it's gonna allow you to access. But overall, the rooms are all gonna have the same layouts to them. And I'm gonna go and finish searching this room a little bit. I hit the landmine, but it was not under the landmine, so I'll continue searching and see if I can get on this floor. Alright, so in the room with the tree to the left and the altar in the back, usually I find it just in front of the removed tiles here, right about here, and in this general area right over here. An enemy is also spawned in here. I have not hit the trap in this area, so I do not know whether it's going to be a toting trap or anything, so I do want to stand stationary while I fight. It's always good to have the room clear when searching, because if you hit a toting trap or an explosive trap and don't have potions on hand, a lot can go wrong very quick, especially if you are not a tank. Another place I find it in this room is just right up alongside the plants. You are searching for treasure, so usually plants are also a good place to look. Another thing to note real quick is that just like if you were to use the intuition to find it, you do have to stand on it for a short amount of time. So I have my idle animation set to 2, and that takes about 3 seconds to activate, 2 or 3 seconds. So I know that whenever my character enters the idle stance, that I've stood on the position long enough to spawn it if it is spawned on that location or not. So that's how I kind of time how long I'm standing in the spot or not. It also takes 3 seconds to warp, and as you can see that I started my idle animation. Just further evidencing, you know, you'll be there for about 3 to 5 seconds per spot you check, which is one of the reasons why this is the very time-consuming achievement. In this room with the small pond here, one of the spots, it's probably one of the smaller maps that I've seen so far. It can spawn about here, roughly here, here, and this is why I keep the potions I've been getting as I've been coming along. If I ever hit a landmine, then I can just kind of top myself off a little bit. And then right about here. So it doesn't look like it's going to be in this room. And then like I've said previously with the bright room, it's a similar map layout here, but it's just the dark room with the altar. There's also going to be a dark room with no altar. There's going to be, you know, a couple different variants. Like I said, there's 16 to 20 different rooms. I forget which number I'd counted. And then I may not have even counted them all correctly. But just know that this 1 through 10 has the smallest number of rooms it can pull from, and the smallest that you'll see in a floor-by-floor layout. So I'm going to go ahead and continue searching this floor for the horde, and since I have not found it yet, as I speak of it, there it is right there. So this is one of the spawn locations that it can have. Like I said, right on top of the landmine. So if I were to have triggered that and continued standing here, it would have spawned my horde for me as well. I would also highly recommend keep picking up any Palmanders that you find along the way, because strength and steel will definitely be your friends for the higher floors, especially if you are a healer or a DPS. More specifically so, a caster or a ranged DPS. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on to 4, and we'll see how we continue from here. Alright, so on floor 4, it's a good time to go ahead and say that this big room here is probably one of the most annoying that isn't one of the ones with a lot of spawn locations. Because it does generally stay closer to the lamps right around in this area, you know, on each side or towards the center. However, because I do like to test my patience and just make sure that I've, you know, checked every possible location, I do usually stand just about every single tile crack, more towards the center. So, generally it's going to be right around in this area here from the lamp. You know, about these 4 or 6. Usually it's going to be in this general area from each lamp, or in the exact center of the room. So, from entering the room right about here, along this path here. So these are going to be your safer places for pretty much any square room that doesn't have any like cracked tiles or anything, like missing tiles out of them. Towards the center, a little off center, or around the 4 corners. So I'm going to go ahead and search this room and continue on, and I'll probably see you if I find the horde around floor 5. Alright, so this last room is a bit different than some of the previous ones, so I just wanted to go over it as well real quick. Again, it's going to be the same general kind of layout, but because it's a different room, it does have its usual preference to it. When it's got a collapsed wall on the left side here, or I guess I should say on the north side, an altar on the east side, and then a root on the south side. Usually I find it more towards the root, right about in this area here. And this is a good time to actually go over luring trap. This is one of the reasons why I kind of recommend a tank, because you get access to arm's length, stun, and reprisal, as well as rampart. Depending on how high level your tank is, outside of this, there's more abilities you'll have. and more specifically Gunbreaker, because at level 4 is whenever it gets its healing potency. And most tanks, it's usually the 3rd hit. They won't get it to like level 23 to 25, but Gunbreaker actually gets Brutal Shell at level 4 for a 200 potency heal. And it will just about nullify most of the damage I'll be taking. If I use a Pomander of Steel, I'll pretty much be, for the most part, safe. Again, a bad lowering trap at a bad spot, an explosive trap in the middle of a fight if I'm not topped off on health, a toting trap after I've gotten aggro or so. All these things are still things that could usually get you killed pretty quickly. But usually I generally play a lot safer, and again, Gunbreaker is just kind of the most useful job for this, I would say, because it does have access to many mitigators for this level, or many different options. I can pull with Provoke if I need to get something into a hallway. It's just got the most going for it, plus it's my favorite tank, so I will go ahead and get up to floor 5 and we'll see what happens on the next floor. Alright, so next here we have a kind of open space kind of room with a little shape in it. It's gonna be north of this, this room right here. Like I said, there's multiple variants of this room. I haven't really been able to distinct them. But this is definitely a room that I enjoy because it's not got a lot of spawn points in it, and it's usually the one that I find it in. And this spot right here is usually the one where I find it the most often. The next spot you can check is going to be right over here. I got an impending trap, but it doesn't look like there's anything. I'm going to go and search around it just in case, because there is a little bit of variant to it. But this room is pretty much usually pretty stationary to it. The traps and cores are usually in the same locations. If it's there at all, anyway. But this is one that I would definitely say is one of my favorite rooms because it's only got 3 positions, I believe, and the next one will be just to the east here. I don't remember exactly where, just kind of under this light over here somewhere. I usually never see it over there, though. You have Copper Strength. And that means to the west is probably going to be... This is what I call the dim room. It's just like the bright room, just not as bright. That's why I have the nicknames for them. And usually in this one, it's north to south in the center. Usually, if I find it here, it's going to be this position or this position. I should keep an eye on where I hit that trap, because like I said, they could be under traps or just off center of the trap. Alright, so here we have another room with a hole in the wall and then a route coming through. Again, same general kind of thing, like where this trap was. Right around here is where the horde usually spawns. Just kind of towards the center, near the plants. Same general idea, but I check corners, just because I have the time. As you can see in my instance timer, I'm down to 33 minutes. I'm only about halfway through. You have a lot of time to check really just about every specific spot. As I finish up here, I'll go ahead and explain. Most people will go 1 through 3 and then drop the instance. It's because it's guaranteed to be on 1 through 3. And if you search very, very thoroughly and find it, you can get it done in 20 minutes, then drop out, go back in, drop out, go back in. But because it all pulls from the same map data and everything anyway, I usually go 1 through 10 for 2 reasons. One, because I want to keep the Aether pool that I'm collecting, and 2, because I want to keep the hordes just in case something good comes out of it. That being said, I have also, as you've noticed, spent my Aether pool so that I can show that you really don't need any requirement before doing this. you know, just a little basic knowledge, an idea where the traps are, and really a way to kind of self-sustain yourself a little bit. The Aether Pull would definitely help. Having 10 to 20, definitely a good stat boost. Probably like 10% of your stats, but for the most part, you don't need those for the lower floors here, and stuff usually kind of melts by a little bit. Especially since you're doing it solo, you will generally out-level the mobs anyway. As you see, I'm also level 14 by now, and these enemies are going to be level 10. 1 through 10 does range up until 17. Good time to note, I'm going to move off of this because I do need to watch this Hornet. One of the reasons why I say a tank is good is because it has stun, it has reprisal, a lot of things you would need. You would definitely, the most scary thing about 1 through 10, besides the rune traps, are the Hornet's final sting. It can be stunned whenever they do it. They usually do it about 10 seconds, 15 seconds into fighting them. It's good to note, because most other things you can run out of range of. Just like Final Sting, you can outrange it. To outrange it, you'd probably have to be about the length of the hallway here away. It's a little bit of a lengthy kind of distance to be away, but if you react to it quick enough, you will definitely be able to outrange it. That way, if you are ranged DPS or imaginary DPS, if you react to it, you can definitely get out of range of it still. So that's why I say, you know, healers, DPS, they can still do this. A tank is not required. It's definitely just helpful to have the stun. That way you don't have to keep moving. Because if you are in a room where you haven't triggered a trap, moving can definitely put you in a bad situation. So I will continue searching this floor here and see what we find. Well, I finished searching this room here real quick, actually. Quick thing to note is I usually target myself when searching because it keeps an eye on my hitbox here, the little circle around me. Ideally, what we're trying to do is, you know, finding it without the intuition. We're just trying to make our hitbox hit its hitbox without being able to see it. And usually by searching the corners, you can see a fair amount of each circle. But it is possible for it to spawn in the center of a square here, in a tile. And it is definitely possible to completely overlook and completely miss it, even if you search every single corner, every single tile. It's bound to happen. It's probably happened in this run alone. It's just one of those things, you search the more general areas. This really is a luck-based achievement, a very time-consuming title to go for. So, with that in mind, it's definitely not one to expect after just a day or two of grinding for it. This is currently my 3rd or 4th day going for it now, depending on how you want to count the days. And as you can see, I've only got like 77. So I'm getting close. Just definitely not one that's very quick to go for. But if you, on average, if you do get 2 per run, it would take 50 runs. And depending on the pace at which you go, 30 minutes to an hour per run, so 25 to 50 hours for the title. Definitely less grindy than some titles go for, looking at crafting and gathering titles specifically. But all in all, it's a title that I think a lot of people have enjoyed, just never really went to go after because of how you have to go for it. So again, that's why I'm trying to offer some advice, some tips, show some general spawn points where I find it, and then just show how I search for those who kind of want to go for it a little bit quicker, perhaps. So I'm going to be a little careful because I haven't hit the trap in this area, and I don't know which trap it's going to be. definitely something that can end you right away is getting toaded while fighting a hornet, because you might not be able to outrange the final sting in time. So I will continue searching and hopefully come back whenever I find either a new room or the horde. Alright, so on floor 7 we found another new room with some rubble on the side, to the north a little bit of a collapsed wall, and to the east some roots. This is the starting room, so I'm not going to search it, but usually in these 4 right around here by this plant, and then right around in this area here is usually where I find it in this room. It's not often that I find it in that room, but it's one of the smaller rooms to check. And then right down here we have the same room that we've seen before, except this time it's got a red glow to it. So this is the one that, like I said, has many spawn points. I usually try to stop at each part of this railing here around the edge. And a lot of the time this is for naught, but it's possible it could be there, so we do it anyway. Right below where the light would be, and then right here, for all 4 sides here. With no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and continue searching for this horde. But it's also a good time to note while I'm back right now that I have only found one, and that was the one on floor 2 there. 1 through 3 was guaranteed. Every other floor has a 33% chance at getting it, up until 5 for the entirety. Once you hit 5, that's the maximum you can get for 10 floors. At least that's what's speculated by people who have done 90 through 200, and done this but on higher floors. The most I've gotten is 4. I usually average between 2 and 3 per run. You're just not guaranteed anything after the first 3 floors, and that's why most people will drop out after the 3rd floor, or after they find it before the 3rd floor, because you're not really guaranteed anything after that. It all really does come down to luck at the end of the draw. I could have had 4 by now and been searching for a 5th. I could have glossed over them and missed them and lost my chance at them. There's a little bit of variable to it. Like I said, because it varies a little bit and you're just searching kind of the general locations, it is entirely possible to kind of waltz right over it and not really realize. And it's usually if you get just 1 or 2 per run, it's a good little progress. At least I think it's good progress. So I'm going to continue searching and maybe make a little bit of haste, because I am running a little bit low on time. I will need at least 1.5 minutes for that boss, especially if I don't get up to level 23. Alright, and there we go. There's another one right here. So there's my second for this run. As I step on a landmine. And I'm down to 10 minutes left. So, like I said, usually in the general tiled areas of the map, in the little crevices, that's where you're usually going to find them. They're not going to be anywhere up on the upper area here, and some maps are a little more difficult to search than others. Alright, so I'm running real low on time because I've kind of over-checked some areas, under-checked some areas because I'm low on time. Usually at the end of floor 9, what I always do is I'll pop up Pomander when I'm done searching, just in case. And this floor, for example, did not have it, so I know there's no reason to continue to check every nook and cranny, because it's not going to be here. But if it does happen to be there and I've finished searching and I'm not going to get it to count for the achievement now, I use it. I take an idea of where it is. I take a screenshot, look through it, and the next run I do, I now know, okay, that's a position where it could possibly spawn. And now that I know that, I've now found a new place to check a little more in detail next time I do a run. So that's how I kind of got a basic understanding on where exactly it's spawning, where to check more often than not. With that being said, that's also why I kind of miss some spots, because I'll check the more general areas and there's going to be some, you know, off the wall kind of weird position where it was that one time. But at the end of the day, at the end of this run, I came out with 2. 2 is a pretty good pace, I would say. It can obviously be better, it can be worse. It definitely beats trying to do it with a bunch of random people on floors 51 through 60, because you almost never get them just randomly on those floors. For that being all said and done, if you do finish the floors and go up to 10, this boss isn't really all that difficult. All the mechanics are pretty simple. However, if you do go as a DPS or a healer, one of the big gimmicks he has is he's going to do the room wide that gives you a dot, auto you twice, and then use Whip Crack, aka the mini tank buster. And as any other job that would kind of hurt, without steel it does around 80 damage. So saving your Palmanders until the end here. I usually save strength and steel both for the upper floors because of hornets. Hornets are always very scary. And then for that boss, generally though, potions that you get along the floors, anything of that sort would help out there. At the end of the day, it's not too tough. Most people, like I said, will go 1 through 3, get their guarantee, and then drop out. I'm farming for Aether Pool weapons as well as I go through here, so I want to keep my Aether Pool, I want to keep my Horde Sacks, because it's my treasure and I found it, so I normally just go ahead and go through 10, because you see some of the same map layouts, you kind of get more of an understanding of where they're spawning, so I would definitely recommend it for first-timers. If I've been a little all over and stuttering, I do apologize. As you can see in the corner, this is kind of a woke up idea out of nowhere to try to help some people get the title. It is 7 a.m. and I started this at about 6:30. So with that said and done, I wish everybody luck on getting their achievements, getting their of the Sixth Sense title. I will now have only 22 more left that I need to go find, so I'll head right back in there. I'll go ahead and have a couple more clips at the end of this video showing where I found a couple more of them. I'll record a couple more runs. And best of luck to everybody. Thank you for stopping by. And there it is, number 100. Trouble with Buried 2. Alright, so I'm going to see everybody at the end of this run, and I'm going to just recap on a couple things. Alright, so here it is, the Trouble with Buried 2 of the Sixth Sense title awarded. So now that we're out of there, I'm going to go ahead and put on that title and show everybody the misery we went through obtaining it. So let's go ahead and put it up real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and recap on just a little bit of stuff that happened throughout those runs. So there it is, of the Sixth Sense. So just to recap on a little bit, any job can go in there and do it. Tank would obviously be the easiest, but with potions, with Palmanders and everything, since you're only going up to 10, you don't need to hold on to them or anything, so you can use them at your own disposal. Nothing's gonna hurt too bad, and if as long as you save up on your potions, you'll have a way to self-sustain. It is still just luck. After floor 3, you're not guaranteed to see any. It's a 33% chance. So every floor up until 5 is going to be just a chance at it. And then once you obtain 5 in one set of floors, you won't be able to have another one. So if you do get lucky enough to get 5 in the first 5 floors, then you know that 6 through 9 will not have a horde at all. I know nobody who has that kind of luck though. Something else to touch up on is you can still miss them, whether you're just not standing in the position long enough, you're getting hasty, you're rushing a little bit, you're not searching in super good detail because of how much space you have to search. Like the bigger rooms, the spots with the rooms that have more spawn points, like the ones with the pit in the center. If you get those a lot in a row, it'll definitely be a bit time consuming. So it's definitely something that's going to take a little bit of practice, get yourself used to a little bit. With all that, I do apologize if I'm a bit stuttery, if this video is a bit off. This is my first time doing anything like this, and first time really using my voice in a video. I don't really have any editing equipment or anything. I just thought I'd try to help some people out, get some achievements done. So with that being said, let me know if there's any other achievements you want me to kind of make a general tips and kind of guide for. I would definitely like to help some people out with getting some achievements, because I know not a lot of people care about them, but it is something that makes some people smile. Getting a title you like, working hard for something and getting something done. So just let me know if there's any that you want me to help, you know, kind of reference point for. And I'll try to get better with speaking, I'll try to get better with editing, and I'll try to get better with the whole little setup here that I have. So with that being said, I'm going to link other resources that I used in the description below, so you can not only you can thank them as well. Although their posts are about 6 years old now, so I'm not even sure if they still play. With that all being said and done though, thank you for watching this video, and I really do wish everybody luck in getting their titles. Have a good one.